Good morning, everyone. JP here at Lynn Brizy, and it's time for another full, complete tutorial and working with Brizy Cloud this morning. Again, everything that I'm going to show you in this tutorial can be done with the WordPress plugin as well. I have to admit, though a year ago, you wouldn't have caught me dead using Brizy Cloud. I've switched a lot, mainly because I just love the dashboard. It's so convenient if you work on many projects. Everything is there. It's not like a WordPress account. You have to log in and log out and log into another one and keep on switching. It makes the administration of it so easy. And that's why I find myself when I'm working on websites that do not require specialized plugins for LMS that I levitate lately to Brizy Cloud. There are still many a feature that I would love to see in Brizy Cloud, but as long as I see the updates rolling out, I'll keep my head up and be strong, young one, because I think there is so much potential in this website builder. Now, this page here, and today we're talking about a curriculum vitae, and for the Americans who don't know, that is a resume. So curriculum vitae, or fondly known as a CV, is something that we usually send to a hopeful future employer and tell them a little bit about our background, our education, our experience, our strength points. And I got this idea and I reworked it a little bit, and this is a one-pager. So it's a one-page site, and I've built it originally in Brizy Cloud free. And I want to use the word originally because for this tutorial, I'm going to use Brizy Cloud Pro. And the reason I'm going to do that for two reasons. One is the newly added email feature within your form builder, and I'll explain that when we get to that, and that will be the one variation. And the second one will be this one, where I had said download CV, and I realized afterwards that currently in Brizy Cloud Free, you cannot do that. You cannot upload a file to this. You can only do pictures, and this is something that I will have to do in Brizy Cloud Pro. Touch wood, I hope so. If not, you're going to create a second page with your full CV on it so that when people click there, it will take them to that. Or you will have to do external upload of a PDF somewhere on the server and connect that link here, like a OneDrive or a Dropbox link that you can bring in here. Throughout the tutorial, I'll talk a little bit about decisions I've made. For example, this very loud heading in the middle here, whether this is a good idea or not. And then also the colors that I've decided on, seeing that there are many people who are of the opinion that when you work with a CV, you shouldn't use any color. You should stick to black and white, keep it monochromatic. But we'll talk a little bit about that because we live in a total new age and tomorrow is a new one as well. That's it. Let's start building. And like I said, I'm going into Brizy Cloud Pro, and wherever it deviates a little bit from Brizy Cloud Free, I will tell you. And the one place it's going to deviate is when you go to your projects up here. When you go into Brizy Cloud Free, you will have this page and that's it. And you will create your new project here, and then you will build out exactly along with me as I'm going to show you. But I've decided to create a new project for my tutorials, and this will be the first one for it. Ta-da! Full tutorial. So I click on that, and that takes me into a new dashboard, and I haven't created anything here yet. So let's begin that, create new project, and I'm going to create a website, and it will create it, call it project 1, and I'm going to rename it to personal CV. And then I will put an S after it. That's just my designation for a single page site or a one pager. After this, let's start building. I'm going to edit my project and we go into the Brizy Builder. And from here on, 99.97% of what I'm going to show you is exactly the same between free and pro. To start building, you have to bring in a block. Let's do that. And I add a blank block, and I'm going to work with 2 columns in this block. So I will click here in the middle. This will open the drawer here on the sidebar. I'll scroll down and I will look for my column over here and drag and drop it. Before I do that, I know for a fact there are many of these little dudes over here I'm not going to use. And to make my real estate a little bit more easier on the eye, I'm going to deselect many of them. Switcher And this may take some time. I'm not going to use a menu. Nope, nope. Go, be gone, be gone, be gone. Countdown, no, no. Embed, no. Form, yes. Icon box, no. Map, no. Line, maybe. Spacer, yup. Video, no. Audio, no. Image, yup. Maybe, maybe, maybe. And then down here, Facebook, no. Oh, well, no, no. And then I'm done. And you can see I have all that I need. And this is actually the surprising thing when you work with page builders. If you go and look at what you've actually used, the 20 or the 80-20 rule usually applies. 20% of your features you've used 80% of the time. And that's how you will build up your page. The next thing I'm going to do, and just to show you here, I've got a few colors that I've used, and I'm using the font Muli. So let me just quickly change the colors, and I have specific places for them. Right, so I copy this one and I go and do that over here in styling. And this is the first one that I'm going to select. And I'll paste that color there. You see there are 8 colors, so I work them. And this one here, the third from the left, this is the button color. Just to show you quickly, if I bring in a button, I drop it there, you will see it takes this teal. It's not 100% teal, but it takes this color. And I know which color I'm going to use. It's like a beige color. There we go. So I know I'm going to change that one for it. And then I only have 2 more. This one is just a random color, but it's a faded one. And then this one, second from the right, this one here, this is your text color. So let's do the same so you can see how that will play out. Bring in text. This is how the text currently looks. And it takes its color from this swatch. So every time I bring it in, this is the swatch that will be applied. So if I click on this one, and then I select my code and I paste it, just a slight change, but still, this is the one that I want to use. And I've decided on these colors before the time. Now I've set it up. Now these guys, this one I usually keep white, and I'm not going to use black, but you never know. So this one I like to put on black. And then these 2, I'm not going to use at all. So I'll just leave them there. They are not that much distracting, not that much, just a tad. I would like to still use, so you can maybe just use other colors that will fit your theme in there, but I'm not going to make a fuss over that. Then I've mentioned that I'm going to use Muli, the font, throughout my design, because I know that I'm going to set it up now. So again, I go to styling, I'll begin with paragraph. And then here from the ones already there, you can look and see if Muli is there. And if you don't see it, I don't think it is there, click here on Add New Font. The benefit is that Muli is a Google font, so you can upload it for free. Because I am in Pro, I can also upload my custom font. This is something that is a Pro feature. If you're using Brizy Cloud free, you will not see this. But let's go to Google Fonts, and this is what we all can do. And then I look here for Mr. Muli. And the problem here is that you think you don't see it. Right? I don't really understand how the search feature works here. I don't really understand how the search feature works here because I don't see MULI anywhere in these words. I'm thinking they just look at letters in these words. So scroll down and then ironically enough, Muli is there at the bottom. Click on continue and that will bring it in and now it's in. So you go back here to your styles and then you go to paragraph and you choose Muli. Look at the font, how it will change over here. Choose Muli, and there we have it now on Muli. When I'm working on a site with many pages, what I will do is that I will go and work on a style sheet before the time. Now, a style sheet means I will have a heading 1, a heading 2, a heading 3, and I will design that before the time. And then over here, I will come and I will apply all of that. And then I will change all of these guys to Muli, as well as the size and the weight and the line height, exactly how I want it to be. But because this is a single page, I'm going to be a little bit lazy and I'm going to do that on the fly. So I'm not going to care too much about it. And that's just the way it is for me. I don't know if it's lazy, but I just think it's a one-pager. And often when I do this by myself, I just, you just know what you want to do. So there's no need to look at a paper. Enough talk. We've set up everything here that we want to set up. And I think it's time that we save our work. The first time you come into Brizy Cloud, you're going to see that the word publish appears here at the bottom. After you click on publish, your page is now live And now after this, it will just be update. Please remember the shortcut key for that. Boys and girls, everybody together, Control S, and on the Mac, Command S. Let's delete this. I click on the button, delete, click on the text, delete, and let's start working with our 2 columns. I am going to go to my block settings. And up here, look at settings and the width. I'm going to put on full. And you will see now the containers stretch all the way from the left, all the way to the right. And for the height, I'm also going to put it on full height. So this is a complete filler. Not an album filler, but a web page filler. And from here, I'm going to work on this. So let's build out our content section over here first. The first part I will bring in is an above title. So text over here. And then under this, we will have a little bit about Bambi. And then we will have buttons. Right. Triple click to select all the text. And then I'm going to say here, in caps, professional assistant. Well, that's it. And then let's go, and we can put it on above title if we want here. And I said I'm not going to do it, but now I'm going to do it. Then you go over here to your styling, above title, and select Mooly, and you set all your settings over here. I'll put it on 16, and let's take it to semi-bold. And for me, whenever I work with a one-line heading, I take my line height down to 1. That's just my preference. And the letter spacing, I'll also bring it down to 1. So in the future, if I want to bring in another one that looks exactly like this, I can just select above title. Click here, go to T for typography, and you will see it displays above title. All those settings that we have made over here now appear over here. Good. I'm going to change the color to this one here, third from the left. And then let's work here on what we've got here. Triple click, and I'm going to type in Bambi Sombrino. And then I want to bring in some random lorem ipsum text. So we do that, go to our lorem ipsum generator, loremipsum.io. And I'll just generate again some random text here. And we grab a nice little paragraph that will be telling us more about Bambi Sombrino. And then I'll paste it here. Now, because I brought in this text element, which comes in by default at paragraph, I don't need to change any font here. It's already on Mooly. That is the benefit of going here to your settings and setting it up here under paragraph. That connects to your text element. What I'm going to do now, this is very important to understand about how the text element within Brizy works. The moment you add an enter or a return on your keyboard, which is a paragraph break, you actually have 2 areas that you're working with. And to explain this to you, let me just click here, anywhere on Bambi Sombrino or at the end. And what I'll do is I'll go to my typography, and I'm going to increase my size to 64. And you will see only this area increases because there is a paragraph break after this. When I'm in Word or when I'm working in other applications like in Adobe InDesign, I usually put those hidden characters on so I can see it better. In page builders, you do not have that benefit. Again, what I usually do for my line height, I reduce that to 1. I just like everything to be a little bit more controlled. That is my personal opinion. The problem, though, is that now my heading and the paragraph is just too close to each other. We need a little bit of separation. And a good rule of thumb here is to look at your paragraph, click on it, and you know that your size is set to 16. So to add space between these two, it's a good idea to use that 16 as well. And how do we add that space? Click again here on Bambi Sombrino, go to settings, and you will see you have the option to add a gap at the top or a gap below. It's basically line height broken in 2 halves. So I'll go to the gap below and I'll type in 16, and that will just give me that little bit of room and make it feel a little bit more balanced. Things are shaping out nicely. Go to the button and I'll align the button first to the right, click again, and now it's on the left. And then over here, let's style it out. I'll type in get in touch, and this will take us to the bottom later where we will add our form. Let's click here on the hand, and I'll go to the icon and I'll remove the icon. Let's see when I hover over it. Let's change that a little bit. And what is important now is that if you go to typography, you will see it's not set to Mule. The best way to do this again is to go to the styling over here, scroll down to the bottom where the button styling is, click on that and put it on Mule. You'll see it updates over there. And I'll add a touch of letter spacing because I'm going to reduce it to 14. And with that letter spacing, it just reads a little bit better. Good. So we've set it up over here. Now let's click again on it and we go to our colors. When you see this little tag here on the left with the dot, this is your default view, normal view. And what normal means, well, nobody knows anymore what normal is, right? But what this means in the default view, when people come to your site and they just view it, this is what they will see. But when they take their cursor and they hover over it, then you go here and you activate hover. And you will know it's activated when it's blue against the black background. What I'll do now, I'll start with the background. I will take that away. The text, I'm going to use this one. And for the border, I'll use the same, like so. And then let's click outside. So when I hover over it, it will look like this. No, I'm not satisfied with that. I think the color is too strange. So I go back, click on hover, go to text, and I select this one here, third from the left, same for the border. A little bit more uniformity. That looks much better. Next to this, I want to add a second button where you can download the full CV from Bambi Sambrino. Click on the button and you click here on duplicate. This is a very cool feature within Brizy to put the buttons adjacent to each other. You don't need to bring in complex columns or other kinds of scripts. This is really awesome. And once you've done that and you go to the button settings, this one will appear here, spacing. And now you can just drag it to add a little bit more space between these two. What is very good in design when you have two buttons next to each other is to have them as opposites. This means that what I've done here for the hover will be the default over here. So click on it and then go to the color. And now for the background, take it away, text and border. This is the default. Activate the hover and you do the opposite. Background, going to take that up, text, white, and you can put the border on white. Not necessary, but there you go. So now you have these. And as you hover over them, they give you opposites. We've built out this section. And here I want to actually wrap a few people over their knuckles. I see this on so many websites that this is how people design. If you think that you're done here, you need to spend a little bit more time on YouTube to learn about basic styling and graphic design. Because this is just not acceptable. It's absolutely not acceptable. If you thought that this paragraph here running all the way to the right is okay, then you need to learn a little bit. And maybe watching my videos, you will also learn that. But this currently is completely unacceptable. And even for people who have no graphic background or styling background or graphic design background, when they come to your site, and they see and they experience it because they won't know, they will just see it. And they experience your site, they will feel your site is not up to standard. And that's got everything to do with layout, structure, and white space. So follow those advice that I'm giving you because this week I actually viewed many sites made on Brizy, WordPress and Cloud. And almost 80% of them falls flat because of graphic design mistakes. The first thing is that I just want you to think of, if you thought this is okay, you have to realize you need to learn more because you cannot see what is wrong. But if you know, JP, that doesn't look good, we need to add some space on the right, bring in padding, then you're okay. But if you didn't understand that you need to bring in padding, you need to spend a little bit more time on this, write it down and practice it so that you can see what padding will do for you. Good. Enough of the speech. Let's go work on the column on the right. And the first thing I will do is click on the column to get the settings over here. And I'm going to change the background to this one second from the left. I like this one a lot. Then we bring in an image. Click on that. Oh, click and drag. And then you will upload the image from your Explorer or your Finder. Over here is my hero, bring that in. And it's going to fill this whole thing, which I obviously don't want. But I'll make a few changes. The first thing I'll do is click here on the image settings, and I will put the height on 100. Then to resize it, I'll simply click on it where I can see these little blue dots as handles and drag it and make it smaller, something more reasonable over here. Now I'm going to bring in spacers. I'll bring in one spacer, drag it at the top. I'll bring in a second spacer, drag it at the bottom. And I'll just, remember this is full screen. So I'll just apply a little bit of height here and there. Okay. And I've actually made a mistake here, but we'll fix that very, very soon. What I'm going to run into is the padding that the block has. The block has by default apply 75 pixels at the top. And as you see, I hover with the cursor here, you will see the 75 pixels. That's normal, that's default, it's not a bad setting. Same for the bottom, as I hover here, you will see the 75 pixels. I want to remove all of that, and to remove all of it, you will have to go into the settings. If I just hold up here and click and hold and drag, I can reduce it like this, but I'm going to go to a minimum of 15 pixels. After that, you do need to go over here, access this, click on the settings, go to more settings, and here where you see padding, link them and then drag them all the way to 0. Now you have no padding at the top for the block and you have no padding at the bottom. So where does this white space still come from? This white space comes from the fact that we had put the block on full height. So this is white space, but it is space that you can use. Show you, I click on the spacer, and as I drag, I move into those areas. And I can actually fill out everything like so. And now you see I filled out the entire block. With padding, there will still be some white. But actually, I want a little bit of white at the top and a little bit of white at the bottom. But we'll have to make some changes soon because I'm going to drag now this handle here. Go to the column in the middle and drag the handle until you get to 30%. You see there at the top? Now let's make it 35. Let's be cool. 35, can I get it to 35? Yes, I can. And then I'm going to click on the image again, increase it a little bit until I get her at a decent height. Good. And you see, full height, I have the white space at the top and a little bit of white space. I can still reduce that a little bit. Testing here and there. And now I'm going to move this image so that it overlaps here. Click on the image, and this is where you have to hold on tight. Go to settings and then activate more settings. And over here, we're going to play around with margins. I always explain margins like the fence around the house. If you want your area to be bigger, you move the fence. And this is what we're going to do here. We want to move her, or this image rather, where? To the right. So look here for the one on the right. What you'll have to decide though here is which direction. If you drag it to the right, you see it goes that direction. If you drag it to the left, you see it goes the right direction. Now it's minus 100, which is still not where I want it to be. I want it to come more over. So I'll double click in there now and type in just a number like 200. And you touch it. No, 200 is not the way. Let's put 275. Okay. But you see what has happened while I was doing this is that my image got bigger. To balance that out and bring the image back to its original size, I'm going to do the opposite here with the left. So I'll drag the left to this direction. And now I'll type in there 275 to balance it out. And there we start to have a little bit more of the balance we were looking for. And now I can say, okay, let's add a few more. I'm going to type in 300 and at the bottom 300. And at that point, I think, aha, this is where I want my image to be. Now you definitely know that the right doesn't look good at all. We have to make massive changes to the right. And I'm going to do that with padding. Padding is the space inside the fence between your fence and your house, your garden, your yard. and that is the open area. Think of your content as the house, padding as the space, your yard, and margins as the fence. To do that, I have to bring it into this column. So I go to the column up here, click on the settings, go to settings, more settings, and then here we have padding. I'm going to use percentage. This is going to make my life much easier. And I'll bring it in for the right and the left. So I'm going to apply it here and here. I cannot see what's going on here on the right. And if you need to see that, go up here to the more settings sidebar and click on this little icon that will switch it to the left. Now I can see what's going on over here. Let's click out of that so you can see it again. Go up here now to my settings, settings, more settings, and now it's here on the left. But while my more settings is open, I want you to see the content alignment over here. This one will put it in the middle, which is where I want it. You can also put it at the bottom, but of course we want it at the middle, so drop it in there. Now we go for our padding. Currently it's set at 15% pixels. So if you look here at the blue border and you look at the content, you see there's a little bit space between that button and this blue border. That is the 15 pixels you see over here on the left. Now instead of saying pixels, I'm going to add 15% of space. And that percentage is based on the entire width of this column. Just click here on the percentage and you'll see what happens. It adds that 15%. But I need a little bit more space. Again, that little space between the image and my content is too little. I'm talking about graphic design again here. You need more white space. I'm going to increase it to 20%. Let's see how that looks. Better? No, let's go for 25%. Good, I like that. Good rule of thumb is what you do on the left, you do on the right. It's a rule of thumb, it's not a golden rule, but you try your best. Go to the right, click on percentage, and also put that on, what was that, 25%. And now you stand back, you say, oh, yeah, this looks good. You realize what we've done. We haven't brought in any content in this last few minutes. We've only applied spacing. And that's what layouts are all about, is how you utilize the space. And that will make your site look better. I don't know how to overstress this because I was kind of surprised when I saw all the websites in this last week, how many do not understand spacing. And that's why I really encourage people that when you are learning website design and you have nothing, you don't have a design background, you probably come from, let's say, what did you do before? You were a rally racer and now you decide to make your own website. You have to embrace the fact that you know absolutely nothing. And just building a website is just one part. You need to learn a few other things. So come to tutorials like this, copy what I do, copy what others do on YouTube and other platforms, and learn from that. But your good friend is going to be the white space. Do not let your text run to the end of a monitor. Every time that happens, you know you have to bring it in a little bit. It's better to squash it in than to have it to run all the way to the side of the monitor. Again, rule of thumb, not the golden rule. And you won't believe it, but at this moment, we are done. So to save our work, go to the bottom or Control-S, Command-S, and let's preview and see how it looks on the front end. And then we go back and quickly get it ready for tablet and mobile. There we go. Now here, I'm not a big fan of animation. In fact, I used to be a really freaky dude for animation, everything animated on my site, but I've totally removed it. I think it's very annoying. I saw, again, another site the other day with something like 20 icons and each icon flies in by itself. That's super annoying. That's my opinion. 20 icons flying in on my site is annoying and distracting. It doesn't tell me anything about your product or who you are. It tells me that you thought flying icons is the way to go. Don't. If you don't know how to use animations, well, don't. You're better off not using them. But here, I do think bringing in that image with a little bit of an animation is a good idea. So I'm always going to contradict myself. Click on the image, and then we go to settings and more settings. And then I'm going to switch this back to the right because I'm a right-hander and I like it on the right. And then you go to advanced entrance animation. And let's see what we've got here. Swing. What is swing? No, that's weird. Shake. No. Nope. No. You have to remember, you're going to send this to corporate people. You want them to hire you. You've got to do something that will appeal to them. Not jello. Absolutely no. No bouncing. Fade is probably going to be your best. Flip. I think flip is not bad. Let's see how flip. Flip is not doing anything. Flip in X. Not bad. And so rotate. Maybe rotate is the one I'm looking for. Rotate in. No, absolutely. So I'm going to go with a fade in left. If I don't know, I go with fade in. And I want to delay it. So just make sure it's around 1. And duration, that is fine. Let's update that and see how that will look on the front end. Click on the preview button. And we see how Bambi Sombrino fades in. That's gentle. It's good for this. I think we can work with it. Right, so let's close these guys. Go back into our builder. Over here, I just want to select all the text and says download full CV. And where are we going to get this CV? Click on it, go to link, and up here you will see file. What I'm showing you now is a Brizy Cloud Pro feature. This is not available in Brizy Cloud Free. So if I click on file, I can upload my PDF. Click here. And then any PDF, grab that, click it, it will upload in my -CV. Let's update that. Go to the front end to see how that will work. Okay, download full CV, click on that, and it will open the full CV, download it for me here at the bottom. I love it. And now if they click on it, hey, this isn't Bambi's CV, some guy's weird codes. Right, so you're going to upload Bambi's CV over there. Now, the Get in Touch one is going to take us to the form at the end of this page that we are creating, so we'll come back to that. Right, now comes the tricky part, and these are decisions, and more decisions. And that means you have to go to tablet, you have to go to mobile device, and style this differently on those devices. I really mean decisions because you have to detach yourself from how the desktop looks, and you have to let go of that completely. And if you go into tablet, if you go into mobile and you see it looks different, immediately try and adapt and say, okay, this is very different from the desktop, but maybe this is better. And you have to put yourself in the shoes of a user using a cell phone coming to your website. What will be best for them, not for you? This is very important because we make these beautiful designs on desktop and then we don't want to let go of them in mobile. That is your own personal ego standing in the way. You have to change that. Mobile design is much simpler, in fact, than desktop design. It has far less la-di-das and bells and whistles. In fact, you shouldn't use animation. You shouldn't use all those weird things on mobile because people scroll very quickly on mobile devices. And that's where animations can become a problem because your animation may be delayed and then they've already scrolled through it. Enough of that. Let's go into tablet and you go over here to the little screen, click on that, tablet, and this is how it looks here. Now your question is, in tablet, is this good enough for you? And if you think it is, then that's fine. Now in tablet, ironically enough, we're a little bit more forgiving. Things can go more to the side than in a desktop, but we still want to bring in a little bit of space. The first thing is that this thing is currently set at full height, so we have to make those changes to our block the same way we did on the desktop view. So go to the settings of the block, click here, and you'll get it over here. Click to link everything for the padding and then reduce it so that there is no space. Next, let's first build out this column over here. Make sure this one is fine. Click on the column and then we're going to add padding on the left and the right. Let's put it again on percentage. That gives us this. Now it looks a little bit squashed at this moment, but remember we actually have space here at the top and the bottom, so we'll make it look better. Next thing is we're going to grab Bambi and we're going to increase the size of her image. And then I'm going to click here and drag up. Click here and drag up. Because we are working with a full screen. That is why. Then let's go and move her a little bit. And this time we're just going to move her a little, not all the way. So remember, when you're moving something, that is your fence, that's a margin. Go to margins here and we start again. Remember this one, we move to the left. And that's it. I'm just going to move it there. And that's what, 50. So this one I'm going to move 50 this direction. Good. See what we've done there? Now over here, the buttons. Do you think the buttons look fine? I think the buttons look fine. You can make them a little bit smaller if you want them next to each other. That's going to be your challenge here, to put them next to each other. But I think at this moment, having them beneath each other is not the end of the world. Update that. I think we've done a good job here with Bambi. Also looks good. And what you can do if you want to have the image a little bit to the top, you grab this spacer and then you grab the one at the bottom, you drag it out and you just play around with it like so. There are many ways you can do this. You have to find the sweet spot that works for you. Reduce that one again. This one. Oh, so this one is up. Okay, good. This is how it will display on the tablet. Next, go to cell phone, click here, mobile, and this is where you have to completely see it through a different light. The first thing I'll do is go to the block settings here. Same thing, I'm going to go for my padding, link them all and drag them all the way down so I have no space. Then I'll go here to the spacer at the top, reduce that. Spacer here at the bottom, same. Let's just add that because we still need the space at the top. You see that white space? That is probably the block. Yes, margin at the top. Take that away. Okay, now we're all the way to the top. Then I'm going to increase Bambi. And next, I'm now going to move our image to the bottom. So moving, margins, bottom, negative, like so. All right. But now our text has moved over it, and that's not ideal. So to do that, I will go to the column. Bear with me, click on the column, and I will apply margin positively at the bottom. And you will see I will push this column away from it. There we go. Good. Now we have to add some space here because it doesn't look good. Click on the column. Go to padding and I'll just link them all. And then from here, I'll drag it to around 35. There we go. Now, actually, you have to remember we put this on full height. So maybe Bambi's image is just way, way too big. So what we can do here is just crop it a little bit. And I think that is much better. Even so. Much better. Good. This looks far more professional for what we have in mind. And this is how you will style it then on a mobile device. Control Command S to save your work. And then I'm going to go now to tablet. And to move up from mobile to tablet, you just use the shortcut key Control plus or Command plus. And one more up, Control plus, Command plus. And to go down is the opposite, Control minus, Command minus. That's it. We styled our first block. Let's go and test it. And this is always the nerve-wracking area. I'll just update it, click on preview. And what I mean by testing is to see whether the tablet and the cell phone that we had created, whether they are truly responsive and whether they will display properly on those devices. To do that in a browser, hit F12 on your keyboard and it will open the inspect area. You do not care about all this over here. What you do care about is this little function up here, which will allow you to toggle on those responsive displays. Click on it and you will see up here, you have presets, Moto, Galaxy, Pixel, and I usually play between these two, iPad and iPhone X. They are my go-to test devices for tablet and mobile. Let's first look at it on the iPad, and this is what we've designed on the iPad. And I really like it. And you can even click here on download full CV to see how that will work. And then let's select iPhone X. Good. Why her face looked for a moment a little bit squashed, but I think it's looking pretty good. Maybe we can reduce a little bit space here. And you can also decide if you want to center align all of this content, but I think I'm going to leave it aligned to the left. Put it back on iPad, untoggle it over here, F12, and that's how you go through those tests to make sure it looks good on those devices. Close this out. Let's bring in now our work experience. And work experience, actually, many people don't know this, but when you work with a CV, especially if you've been working for a while, people are more interested in your work experience than they are in your education. Yeah, ironically, right? If you're fresh out of university, you think that little piece of paper means everything. And then you find out they want to know about your experience. So even when you send a CV, a resume to anyone, the best approach nowadays is to kick off with your work experience and then put your education after that. So let's bring in a blank block, and then I'm going to change the background color. Go over here to colors, and I choose the same one as over here. Here is my container, click in the middle, and I'm going to bring in columns. I'm going to work with 2 columns and then some. In this one, let's bring in some general information. I'm going to use 3 text elements. And previously, like over here, I had used 1 text element. This time I'm going to use 3. That's it. There's no golden rule. Let's just change the colors as we bring them in so we can see what we are working with. There's no golden rule. It's up to you. This case, I want to use 3 different text elements. Change this one also to white. First one, let's begin here. Triple click, and in caps, I'll type my experience. And then I'm going to apply the same styling I did over here. So I'll go to the typography setting, and from here, that was an above title, and you see it brings in that one that we have done there. Next here, I want to bring in just a little bit of a heading, a large heading. So I'll just grab a text element over here. Let's maybe make it 2 sentences. Copy that, Control-Command-V, and then I'm going to make this much bigger. Typography, 28. And the line height is currently at 1.9. That's a little too big. So I'll reduce it 1.7, and let's give it a little bit more weight, put it on semi-bold. Good, 3 lines, that works for me. And then we bring in a little bit of a paragraph here, a few paragraphs. So I'll just grab text again from Lorem Ipsum, copy that, triple click to select everything, Control-Command-V, and then I'll just bring in a few paragraphs like so, enter there, and I'll enter here. Look what I do next. I'm going to select all of this. That's Control-A, Command-A, or you just select everything. Then I go up here to settings, and I'm going to add a gap below. The reason I'm doing that is I want to give a little bit of separation. And what was the rule I told you? What is the size that I should put in there? And that size is related to the text size. So 16, good idea. Let's put in 16, and now we have those paragraphs. I want to put less emphasis on this text. So what I'll do is I'll select it again. Then I'll go to my swatches and I'll choose this one. Now, this one looks white, but you will see it's not white. It's a little bit of gray. And if I click outside now, you will see it looks a little bit faded. I like that. That looks just much, much better. Now, over here, we are going to bring in our experience. The first one, I'm going to have a column that says, where did I work? The second one is going to say, what was my role? And the third column is going to be all about the time I had worked there. To do that, I'm going to bring in a row element. So go here to our add elements, look for my row, click and drag and drop it in the middle. And you will see I have a row. There's my row. I have 2 columns inside that, and that's inside this blue column. I'm going to bring in 3 columns. I want 3 columns, so I'll go to this one and I'll just say add 1 more column. Let's go to our row settings first. And the reason I want to do that is I want to reduce all the extra space so we have a little bit more space. Click on the settings, go to more settings, and over here for padding, I will reduce that to 0. Now let's start working with this. First column is the company I worked for. Bring in a text element, drop it there, click on it, make sure you select white so we can see it. Triple click, select everything, and I'm going to type in here Disney World. Let's style it. We go over here to typography. I will leave it on 16, but I'm going to put it on bold. And then, of course, I'll just reduce my line height because I like it like that. That's it. That's all I'm going to do. Next, I'm going to click on it and I'm going to duplicate it. Then I'll click on the duplication and drag it to the second column. Here I'm going to say, what did I do at Disney World? Well, I was Elsa. And then a little bit of a description of Elsa. I'll bring in another text element over here, click on it, and I'll make it white. Let's change the text. I'll triple click and I'll say performed, let it go at the morning opening ceremony. That's it. Then I'll go to typography and I'll put my weight on light. Let's see, light, extra light. I like extra light. And I'm also going to change the color to this fade that we have over here. So it just makes it look a little bit better. Over here, I'm going to say the time, the duration I had worked for this company. So I'll go to this one again, duplicate it, click and drag, and I'll type in here present. This is where she is working currently. Yep, she is singing Let It Go every morning. Now what I'm going to do is, of course, the history. So to do that, you simply go here now to your column, click on the column and click duplicate and duplicate. Oh, wow, that looks suddenly so professional. Yep, absolutely right. You didn't know I could do that. And then over here, you're going to change all of this out with the past. I'm not going to do that because guess what? I'm lazy. But the other thing that I think would be cool here is to bring in space at the top. So I'm going to go here, grab my spacer, drag it up there, drop it, and I'm just going to drag it maybe down like here. Ooh, or there. You can put it where you want. I think I'm going to put it here. I'm in two minds now. Let's put it there. That's what you can do with your spacer. Good. Very, very good. I like that. Looks really good. I do think, though, if I look at the space here at this moment, that these two are a little bit too close to each other. So I'll put in a little bit of space here on the left. To do that, I'll go to the column. And to bring in space inside, it's padding. So here on the right, it's currently on 15. Let's put it on 30. See if that looks better. Let's put it on 50. Don't be shy. Comes to space, don't be shy. Looks better. That looks really good. And that is my experience. Very easy. This is an excellent block for people who come to this site to see what you've done, and they can see everything that you've done over here. This looks really, really good. Let's go and see how this will look, though, on a tablet. And I'm thinking on a tablet, not bad. The only problem we have here is that I had applied that line height of 1. Go to typography, and I'm going to increase that to 1.6. So just do it for this one too. And here is a pro tip. When you work with things that you are going to duplicate, like we did here, the best advice I can give you is first, go to your desktop and fully style it here. And then you go to tablet. So for example, let's do it like so. I'm going to do it like so. Right? Even drag it a little bit. Let's say we drag this one out. This one out. And then over here, push that one out. Push this one back. Okay. The problem is, how do I apply all of those now to these? And this is the advice I give you. Come and do this one first. And then what you will do after you've done that, I'm going to delete these two columns. Those settings are now embedded in this one. And then you go and you duplicate it now. So if you go back to tablet, you will see they fit in very nicely. We can even come to this column. Good. Let's see how it looks on a mobile device. Very different. This is how it's going to display on a mobile device. And we'll have to make a few calls here. First, let's bring in padding because it doesn't look good. And I'll bring in the padding for the block over here. I'll link them and I'll put it on 35 for the block. Then over here, Disney World, you will have to drag it. And then drag it. This one can be the shortest. Okay, and then I'm just going to extend this one a little bit. Okay, and I'm going to do exactly the same, what I had shown you earlier. This is where you will have to come and do this one first. Then you go to your desktop, and after you've done that, you've locked it in now. You will see I duplicate it again, 1, 2. Now when I go to tablet, no change, right? And when I go to mobile, you will see all three of them like this. That's pro tip, right? And the pro tip that I keep forgetting. Let's reduce the space up here for that spacer. And let's bring in spacer at the top. Click and drag. And I think overall, a good job that we've done here. That's it. Let's go back to the front. Let's save it. And now comes that test. How will it display on the front end? And I think we may just run into a few issues here and there. This is okay. This is fine. Remember the keyboard shortcut, F12. It's not a shortcut, it's a key. Click up here to toggle it. Right, this is our tablet view. Looks fine. And I'm very nervous, iPhone X. I think we're going to have this. I was expecting that. Right, so what we have to do is we'll have to go and change a little bit here. And I'm going to do that because I don't want to be lazy, those tutorials that you always see online. But the first thing I will do here is I'll go to typography and I'll reduce this one to 14. And I'm also going to put it on normal, just to reduce that. And then I will bring it in. This one I want to keep, but I'll still bring it in a little bit. And then for present, I'm going to do the same. Bring it down to 14. Also put it on normal, same for Elsa. Let's just do that for Elsa as well. 14 and normal. And I will first go and test to see if that one works. On the front, let's see, refresh this one. Yep, that one works. Looks very, very good indeed. I'm pretty proud of myself. No, Disney World here. Let's just add line height because it did squash it. You see, it did squash it there. So I think I'm going to squash it by myself. There we go. Then I have control over it. Put it on 1.6. Good. And the reason why I'm not extending this one all the way to the end is because I am concerned that it may squash it again. So I'm just going to leave it like that. Now that I've done it, I'll do that same trick. Go to the top, I'll delete. And we're working with placeholder text, so it's not the end of the world. But if you had gone and you had styled all of this out with the content, you will be crying long crocodile tears now. There is a shortcut for that. But I would say in this case, this is a good way. Let's go see if it worked. Update it. And there we go. That works. I want to say the following. It sounds strange, but don't be lazy. Often when we see it on a mobile device, we think, it's okay, people won't care. Don't do that. Just go in there and struggle with it until you get it to work. And this is not special to Brizy Cloud or Brizy WordPress plugin. This is everything out there. In particular, if you are working with the WordPress Gutenberg editor, which I've been doing a lot lately, you will have to go and make those changes again and again and again. Put it back on iPads, and then over here, and F12. And our CV website is starting to look pretty good. I mean, I always say to people, when you design a site, the first thing they see on your site should totally tell them what the site is all about. And if you think of a prospective employer looking at Bambi's site, when they look at this header and this hero image over here, they can see everything. They can see her Bambi, a short description of her, and then if they want to get her CV, they can immediately download it. They don't have to go and scroll through the page. It's here. And if they think, okay, let me contact her, get in touch. Then there's all the extra stuff down here. Okay, so that's important. But at the end of the day, everything is here. And there's a photo of Bambi. Unfortunately, there was a time that we were shy to put our photos out there. You didn't send people a CV with your photo on. Nowadays, those things have changed. I know we still feel uncomfortable doing it, but I recommend that you should get beyond that uncomfortableness and start relying on your image. And if you don't think you look good or you don't have a good image, invest that money, go to a photographer and just get a good headshot or get a good portrait shot at a minimum. That's it. Let's go back here and let's go to our desktop and build out the rest of our CV site. Right, so the next part, we can talk about for a very, very long time. And that is that in your face announcement almost that I had on my site. Let me show you what it is, and then we talk a little bit about whether you should do it or not. Bring in a new block, going to say add a blank block, and I will first go here to my settings, and I'm going to put it on full width, so it stretches all the way from the left to the right. Then I'll change the color to this one, third from the left. Bring in a text element, and I really want to tell you, the text that I'm about to type is not mine. I copied it. I'm saying that. And I'm going to make it large at almost 100. Not almost, I'm just going to put it on 100. Then I'm going to put it on bold, and I'll reduce the line height to 1.4. And the letter spacing we will leave like that. It is highlighted at the moment. If it wasn't highlighted, I'll simply triple click. And the text is optimizing businesses for all kinds, all sizes. Are you ready for the next big change? So, and then what I will do, I want to say next big change. I'm going to highlight it, and then I'll click here on italics to put that a little bit slanted. You can barely see it. Next, what did I tell you? Text should not stretch from left to right your entire screen. It's just wrong, wrong, wrong. So what I'm going to do here, you have to bring space on the left and on the right. To do that, I'll go here to my block settings, more settings, and I'm just going to apply here on the right, and I cannot see it. So let's go for the left first. Let's apply 300 pixels. See how that looks. 300 isn't bad. Let's put it at 200. Give it a little bit more breathing room. 200. And then here for the right, I'll just switch it. Type in there 200. Okay, and I'll switch it back. And the next thing I'm going to do is that I will click here again and align it with this button to the right, like this. I do think, though, I don't want 4 lines. So I'm going to reduce a little bit of this padding. Let's go over here. More settings. It is at 200. Let's put it at 150 and see if we can get it to go. Okay, that's good. 150. There we go. Optimizing businesses for all kinds, all sizes. Are you ready for the next big change? And that's it. This is this block. Yes, but no. And let's quickly talk about it. Is this a good idea for a CV? In most cases, I will tell you, no. Do not go. This is like shouting, and you do not want to shout at somebody who's going to be your boss or your employer in the future. On the other hand, sometimes people like bold statements. If this is what you are promoting to a customer, and this is the difference, your CV doesn't have to always be for an employer. It can be for a customer. You need to promote yourself to this customer. Then yes. So here is my advice. If this is to a customer or a client and you want to get their business, then you can do this kind of thing. If it is for an employer, if you are looking for a job at a company, then absolutely no. Don't do this. You never know. The guys sitting up there just do not like this kind of thing. Let's go and see how this looks on the tablet. Ooh, way too big. So click here on T for typography. Let's half it. I'm just going to half it. That should be fine. And then I'll bring in padding again on the left and the right. I'll do that with the block. Click here on the block settings, padding here. I'll put that at 100. Let's see, 100 is good. 100 over here. And this one I'm going to leave 4 lines. Let's go for mobile. Way. Click on it. Where is the settings down here? And then I'm going to put this, let's go for 48. It's also half. But I like it. I like it. And no, it's this guys here on the bottom with themselves. 36. Let's try 36. And let's bring in padding first. So padding, put it on 35 on the right and 35 on the left. Let's see how that looks. Okay, that looks fine to me. I'll bring in a little bit of line height. Let's put that, 1.34. Okay, there. That's it. But we're not done with this one. I want to show you a cool effect that I've done. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring in a block up here. Click, bring in a blank block, and then bring in a spacer and drop it there. Go to the block settings, more settings, select padding, link everything and drag it down to 0. Click on your spacer and let's put that at 100. Let's see, 100. 100? No, I'll say 75. 75, good. Next, go again to your block settings for this one. Go to colors. And then you're going to select here where it says solid gradient. First one, click here. And I'm going to select this one, which is the same color as the block at the top. And then for this one, I'm going to select this one, which is the color for the one at the bottom. And then I'll grab these sliders and drag them in a little bit for each side. Ooh, you see what I did there? A little bit of a transition effect. Nice. And the block at the bottom is going to be another color. So we'll do the same for now. Add a new block. No, not add a new block. We're going to just copy this one here. Go to this block and duplicate it. Then go to the Reorder Blocks function on the left in the sidebar. Click here. And you will see you have 2 of these now. Drag this one to the bottom. Go to the settings for the one at the bottom. Colors. And now we'll switch the color. So this one here on the right, or on the left, I'm going to choose this color. And then this one on the right, I'm going to choose this one, third from the right, because I'm going to apply that color to the next block. And that will give us this transition. Let's just go and see how this looks on our tablet. Ooh, too big. So what we can do, let's see if we take this away. No, too big. I'm going to bring that back. What I'll do, you first go to your padding, link it, take it away. And this is currently at 75. I'll bring it down to 50. We do the same for this one here. Okay, where's this one? Here. Oh, this huge one. It's huge. And then click on it and also put it on 50. Maybe still too big. And let's also change it for mobile. Same thing for mobile. I'll first take away all the padding. And then click on it. And this one I'm going to put on something more manageable. 35. Same for the one at the bottom. Click on the padding. And then here, 35. Nice. Let's go back to our desktop. Update the work. Let's go view it on the front end. And it's a tedious job. Save, view, adjust, save, view, and so forth. F12. And this is how our page currently looks. It's sizing out very nicely. Pardon the pun. Then let's look at it on iPad. These guys we were happy with. This one we are also very happy with. That was an easy one, right? Easy, easy. And then let's see on an iPhone X. Good. There we go. So this part is done. And again, just that caution that I gave you. This one over here, you need to decide who is your market. And then be careful. You do not want to be shouting at your future boss. Let's talk about skills next. Bring in a new block. Click here. And we'll change the color first so that it matches that one. Now you see a nice transition that we have applied there. Bring in 3 columns. So we bring in the columns and then we make a new one here and you can duplicate or just add one. It's empty at this moment. Going to bring in a title. Triple click and type in capitals my skills. And then we go to typography and put it above title. Next, I'll say something about that. So I'll bring in another text element, drop it. Let's add some lorem ipsum text there. Copy, triple click, Control V, and let's put it in bold. And I'll increase the size to 18. I think a little bit too much text, so I'll delete this. There we go. My skills Job done. I'm going to increase this column to around 40%. And then I'll add padding here to move it a little bit again. Go to more settings and padding on the right. Currently it's at 15. I'll put in 50 and it will give us this little space here. I think I'm going to increase it to 75% pixels. There we go. And now we're going to work with these two. What I'll do is I'll drag them so they are equal, which is 30% each. This is 40, so they must be 30, 30. And the first thing I'll do here is bring in a counter. Click on the plus, and I didn't leave my counter there. I forgot I used it. So click on edit and go look for your counter, activate it and done, and bring in the counter, drag and drop it here. And that's what the counter does. A counter counts. Click on it to go into the settings, and I'm going to type here at 64. And then, oh no, that's the start. So start is 0 and end is 64. But I'm not a big fan of long counters. There's 2 seconds, way too much for me. So I'll reduce that to 1 second. I think that's just a little bit more friendlier. You don't have to wait that long. And again, I want you to imagine a person standing on a subway, walking in the street, and they are just swiping with their thumb on the screen. If your counter takes up a big part of your screen and they're swiping and it takes 2 to 3 seconds, they would have swiped over it. So don't waste that precious time unless you have more control over how long it will take on the various responsive devices, and you have those responsive controls, then you can adjust it. But otherwise, don't go for 2, 3, 4 seconds. You're wasting that person who's on a mobile's time. That's it. Under this one, I'm going to add a little bit of text here to say what the 64 is all about. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to duplicate this one here. Click and drag on the duplicate, drop it in there, triple click to select everything, and then says help SME start up in the last decade. So this is how many she had helped. And what we want to do is we want to squash it in on the left and the right. We can do that with padding or with the block settings, and I'll do that with the column settings. We need to put a little bit space here. I'll first center align it. Let's just go here and reduce the line height. Okay. And now we have to bring in the padding. I can do that with the column. Let's change the background color. Ooh, no, way too harsh. Okay, what can we do here with the column background? Let's choose this one here and we reduce it to, there we go. That looks a little bit better. And this number looks so faint to me, I can barely see it. Put it on this one. Okay. I'm going to put it on that one. And let's change then the background of the column to this color. Drag it up. Drag it down. A little bit. And then you know what? I'm going to change the color here again. Click here and put this one on white. There we go. Okay, playing around with it. It's different than I did it earlier, so I'm just messing around with it. Go to the column settings, click on columns, more settings, and we're going to apply uniform padding inside. So click here on the padding section, and then I'll put it on percentage, and then I'll put it on a low percentage like 5. Okay, so that's what we've got here now. Next, though, is go to your margins and increase your margins. See what I'm doing there? Let's put it on 25 pixels. And then I'll go back to my padding. Let's increase that to 10. So we have that kind of space. Good. And now what I'll do is I'll go to the column here and I will duplicate it. Then I'll go to this column, right click and delete it. And then I'll have to drag this again here to 40. And these two to 30, 30. And then you just change the content over here. I cannot type there. I have to go here, 112, and change it to projects finalized with more than 80% success. I wonder what that means. There we go. And how many projects didn't you finalize with less than 80% success? Haha, read between the lines. That is how we start building out now our skills section. And next we're going to give a little bit more about all the various skills. This is like a grabber, it grabs your attention, and then we list the skills below here. Bring in a spacer and drop it there where you see the long, thick gray line stretch all the way from the left to the right. And I think it's on 50 pixels. That is the default setting. We're going to leave it there. Then we bring in columns again under that. Click here, columns, drop it. And we're going to have 3 columns. So add 1 more column here. Bring in text. And my first skill, triple click to select everything. Type in caps presentation skills. So presentation is going to be my first skill. And I'll put it again here on above title. I like that one over there. Next, we bring in our text for that. And I'm going to bring in lorem ipsum text. Let's grab this here. Just some text to work with. And I'm going to list all my presentation skills. Control V, Command V. What I'll do is I'll just click there. Here, and just enter. Enter, and I don't care about those full stops at the moment. Okay, and this is way too many skills. You should never have that many. It looks like you're making them up. Let's just take away. There we go. Then I'm going to select them all because I've entered and returned on the keyboard. These are different paragraphs. So if you want to work with all of them uniformly, you have to select them all. Then I'll go to typography. I'll reduce the line height, bring them closer. And next, I'm going to give them a bullet. The bullet is over here. Click once, that will be numbers, and then bullets next. And then I'll change the color to this one we have here. And you will see that the bullet color doesn't change. Look here. See, it's this color, but the bullet color hasn't changed. I'm going to select it again. And then I found a workaround. Go to typography and just reduce the line height and increase it. And you see there it has changed. I think the background, I know this color is right. Let me just update and go view it on the front end because currently I feel I can barely see my text. And I know I got the color right. So something I'm not doing correctly here. And I think it's the background. Yeah, no, it's not. I'm going to change the background color here. Go to the background. And what I'll do here is I'm going to reduce this all the way to around 30%. Now that's very important what I just did there because I put it on 30%. You have to remember to go to this block up here. And then where we have this one also 30% so it can match. Give me 30, give me 30. There we go. See, now it matches. There, looks much better. I can read my text also much better. Okay. Before I work on these two, I'm going to put padding in this column. Settings, more settings, and then padding on, let's put it on 35 for the right and 35 for the left. And now I will go ahead and duplicate this column twice. Then I'll go to these two, right click, delete, right click, delete. And there we've built out these 3 columns. So we can change the text here. This one is project management. And for this one, I'm going to call this just management. And then we bring in some other text. Usually I don't build in this one. So I forgot to turn on the checker. So Google keeps thinking my spelling isn't very good. Okay, but we run into a small little problem here. And that is that, no, it's the same, right? Yeah, it's the same. Me and my confusion. Let's add another one here. One here. And the dog is barking a little bit there. Update. It's a boring Saturday. They need to bark at something. Let's go and preview it on the front end to see how this will look now. Right. Good. There it is. And remember what I mentioned at the beginning, kind of the idea behind this entire page is that you basically want people to download the CV that you've prepared, that they have it for HR. And then over here, you just want to list what you can do and what you've done. These are the skills that you have, that you believe you have. And this is your work experience. The 2 most important parts that people want to know when they hire you. And this one, experience, goes first, whereas your skills come second. And what I want to pinpoint here is that we haven't yet talked about your education. Skills is what you can do, not what you've been taught, because there's a difference between learning something and doing it. And this is just a little bit of resume advice. And that means that that third component of your CV, which is your education and background, your awards, comes next. That's the third part. But before we do that, we need to go and look at tablet. And that is always the most stressful part. You see over here, this is not working. So what we have to do is go up here. And, oh yeah, over here. This is our padding. Let's change the margins first. Make sure you link them all. And let's put it on 5 pixels. Let's make it a little bit more, 15 pixels. Okay, and that is fine. What I'm going to do now is a shortcut. So while you are here and you hover over this column, right-click, copy. It has copied everything about this column. Then you go to this column, right-click, and say Paste Styles. It will also apply those 15 pixels that we've just created. I want this to be vertically centered. What I mean is I want to have it in the middle of this column. But that you have to do at desktop level. So let's go back to desktop, and over here, go to the column, settings, and make sure you put it in the middle. Now when we go to tablet, it's in the middle. Looks much better. I think this is good. This is good. I'm going to be happy with that. Let's look at it on mobile, which is going to be very, very different. And here I will bring in margins, padding, margins on the left and the right. Let's link them. See 10 pixels. Oh, we can do it like that. Let's link that as well, 10 pixels. But I'll go to my block. And the block, I'm going to add padding on the right of 35 pixels. And on the left of 35 pixels. And this is a personal preference that I've built over. I started with 20, then 25, then 30, and then now I'm at 35. And here we go for this. Over here, we have this spacer, and I'm going to disable this spacer. So by doing that, I'll click here on this little hide and unhide. If I click on it, it's going to hide it. Disable it, you won't see it now. Let me just click here and it's gone. So this is how it will look. And now that I have added that, I think actually this space is unnecessary on the left and right. So I'll click on the columns again, I'll delink it, and that's what I like. Yep. Delink this one as well. So we only have the margin at the top and at the bottom. It's looking good. Let's go test it. F12. And then we toggle it on again. I think I should just leave this on. Let's put it on iPad first. That works, that works, that works. This works very well. Sure. And the sweat dripping off my forehead. This works perfectly. Oi, this looks good. Man, I wish I needed to send my CV to someone. If there's something I hate more than going to the dentist, is updating my CV. I think I'm lying. I'd rather update my CV than go to the dentist. Good. Let's close here. Let's go to the back and back to desktop. And now we bring in those things that we had learned, our education, our training, our awards. And remember, that thing I've told you, it goes down in priority. When you're coming out of university, fresh from school, you think that's the most important thing and you brag about it. Hey, I used to sing in the choir. I was the bass in the choir. Yeah, I did that. I actually did that. Where I am today, nobody cares what you sang and when you sang. Let's build it out from scratch. And I'm going to apply the same little trick that I have done here. So I'm going to go to this block that we had created here and duplicate it. Then I have to drag it down, go to the reorder, where is this one? Yep, there we go, drag it down to the bottom. And then the first thing that we have to do here is, well, we don't have to switch it. Let's go to our color settings. This is the one that we have up here. And then for this bottom one, I'm going to put it on this color. Okay, slight change. I'm really changing it up from the one that I originally had done. That's how it goes. Add a new block, add a blank block, and we change the color. And it's this one. No, this one. And yeah, there you see. Nice. So we have that transition between them. And this is the great part when you had styled all of these things previously, because I just copied it. But because I copied it from these guys that I've already set for my tablet, it's going to copy perfectly. I don't need to go and worry about tablet and mobile. They will carry on the settings that we have here and here. Let's bring in a title over here. I'm going to call this one Awards. So triple click to select everything. Awards and Education. Because the microphone is in the way of my keyboard, I say, though I know I can type blindly. Let's increase the size here to 48. Type in 48. I'll put it on bold. And I'll leave the color as is. Bold. Yeah, bold is fine. And I'll just reduce the line height. I like to do that. I'm just going to reduce a little bit of the space here at the top. Click and drag. And then we're going to do very similar to what we've done over here, but this time we're going to do it over here. And how I'm going to achieve that is exactly the same way that I've done up here, but we are going to cheat even more. So what I'll do is I'll go to this column, click on it, and then duplicate it. Then I'll go to the new one, or this one, click here, and then drag, hold and drag. When you get to the bottom, it's not going to move. So to move it, click page down on your keyboard. Page down, and hold on to that. And now when I get here, I'm going to drop it. Wow, magic indeed. Let's just see if this one at the top is still good. That one at the top is still good. And I'm just going to save everything before I make a mess. Control S, Command S. Then I will delete these guys because we're going to style the one at the top first. And this time I will do it properly. So the first thing I'm going to do here is change the color. Put them back on the colors that we want them. And for this one, there's nothing there. Good. So we'll say this, my case, become law. Yes, can you believe it? Not kidding you. And then over here, let's delete this text element and we bring in again bullets. So maybe something that you had learned or what you had achieved or how many different subjects, your majors that you had majored in. And then let's do it for this one. And I'm going to put that again on a lower line height. I selected everything. I'll put it on medium. I think, no, let's go for normal. And then we're going to put it on bullets again. That looks good. That looks good. And then here, when was this? 1995 to 1997. Long ago, long ago. Now, let's do what I didn't do when I previously did this. I will just reduce this column a little bit. Squeeze that one out more so we have more space if you have longer sentences here. Then I'll first go to our tablet to see how this will look on the tablet. You see what I mean? So I'll grab this one and drag it out. And then let's see here. That is fine. I think that looks good. And then let's go to our mobile. Same for the mobile. Drag it out. Good. And I think this is good. Should be fine. Let me just quickly set the settings for this mobile. 35. This is for the block settings. And 35, updated, and I'm going to preview it already before I do the rest of the content to make sure that when I duplicate that, it's going to look right. F12, I'm immediately jumping into this, and here is the bottom. That's good. Maybe a little bit space there, but this is fine. For mobile, we are happy with this. That it cuts it to a second line, we don't have a problem with this. These things look good. Let's see on the tablet, iPad. That looks nifty. Very good. Ooh, here we have to add some space, but we can do that later. So now I'll come here. I'll click on this row and I'll duplicate it. And then I can add in more like here. This was my ILB. This was 1998 to 1999. And then what you're going to add here is not work experience. You're going to add your training, all the training that is applicable. And I'm not talking about your black belt in karate unless you are applying for a bodyguard position. These are the things that you're going to be changing here. For example, if you had a diploma in health and safety, and then over here you add that 2011, something like that. All of that will appear over here. Let's go and see then. Tablet, we have to add space here for our tablet to add padding on the left and the right. I'll always come back to that. So let's add a little bit here. I'm going to put that also on 50 and 50. Maybe we can have just link those two. Good. That looks better. Let's reduce the space here at the top. I'm going to click and drag. That looks good. And then mobile. Update. And let's see how our awards and education will display. Refresh this. Oh, looking nice. And I don't mind that is so close to each other, unlike the way it flows. It flows. Then iPhone X. iPhone X, we love you. It's looking good. It's good enough for iPhone X. I would be surprised if you're applying for a job and somebody were to check it on a mobile device. But on the other hand, that's what the world is all about nowadays. So you have no guarantee they won't do that. Control plus to get to tablet, Control plus to get to desktop. Let's save again, Control S, Command S. And then where are we now? We're going to bring in a little bit of bragging rights. Those things that you are very proud of, especially if you've worked with big name clients or even smaller clients, bring in a little bit of bragging rights. And that means logos. That's what we're going to do next. So let's click here on add a new block. I'll change the color to this one, second from the left. Then I'll go up here to awards and education. I'm going to duplicate this one. Click and drag on the new copy and drop it here. Click on it to select it and put it on white. And then triple click to select all the text. And I'll type in I've worked with. That's our bragging rights. Under here, we're going to bring in logos that we're going to put in columns. So I'll bring in columns and I'm going to use 6 logos. So up here, I'm going to go plus 3, 4, 5, 6. And the reason I'm saying 6 is because you will see the plus disappears. You can only do 6 columns. After that, nope, you cannot. And I think we need a little bit space between the columns. So we'll do that. Just drag it down a little bit. And then we bring in the image for the first one. And we do everything in the first one. Then we duplicate it and we delete the rest. Let's bring in an image, or there's my logo number 1. And the first thing you have to do is go here to your settings and put it on 100% so you can see the full logo. There we go. If you're happy with this one, just make sure that you go here to the column settings, and then put it in the middle so that when you have other ratio logos coming in, they will all be in the middle. Now I have to delete these guys. So I'm going to right click delete. And then I'll go to this one and duplicate, not plus, duplicate 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then I'll go to this one. And I'll just keep swapping these guys out. And remember, you have to go to your settings, put it on 100%. And I'll first do it with all of them. And then we can make some changes where needed. This one. Number 3. Settings 100%, almost 100. Very, very close. And take this one away. 100%. This one is next. I'm going to use this one. 100%. And then the last one. And put it also on 100%. So some of them are too big, like this one. Alyssa, click on that. And I'll just reduce it. Same for new wave. I'll reduce it. And there we go. That's it. You can add a little bit more padding, but I think the padding that we've got here is good. Let's add an area where they can download the curriculum vitae, add a blank block, and don't forget to go and check our tablet and mobile. And I'll bring in the same color over here. and I'll bring in 2 columns. So what I'm going to have here is the curriculum vitae. I'm going to copy this one, duplicate, click and drag it into this column and type in there curriculum. Vitae, and then we can add a little text under that. Drag and drop, put it on white. 1 or 2 lines. Let's just put it on some text in there. And then we are going to say download the CV. But don't do it again. Just go up here, click on this one, duplicate that one, then click and drag. Same thing. Hold page down on your keyboard and drop it there. There. Okay, let's just change the color for this one. So I will say the background we're going to put on this, make it full. Text we're going to put white. And I'm going to change a little bit here. And I want to add an icon. Click on icon, click on plus, and I'm going to say download. Let's see if they have download. Yep, they've got download. Let's choose this one, this one, this one. This one. I like that one. And I'm going to select everything here and type in caps, download CV. And next to it, I'll say updated April 2020. This is very important. It makes people think you keep your things updated. Then I'll go to typography and I'll add letter spacing. Good. And because that CV is already connected to this one up here, when they click here, they're going to download the exact same CV. But I'll add space there, here, just to give it a little bit more definition. Now I'm going to make a few changes here because I have made a decision. I'll go to the block first and then I'll click here on the colors and I'll put it on white. Reduce it. You can reduce it or put it on white. Then I'll go to this column and let's just put it on that color so that we can see it. Then go back to the block and the width I'm going to put on full so that I have it extended all the way from left to right. Then I'll go to more settings and I'll remove the padding at the top and I'll remove the padding at the bottom. Of course, what did I tell you about this? It looks ugly. So go to the column and add your padding. Click here. I'll vertically center it first here. And then what I'm going to do next is I'm going to add padding on the left and I'll put it on percentage. And on the right, also on 15%. And you're going to see that looks actually pretty good, the 15%. Why am I not adding padding to the top and to the bottom? It's because I'm going to control that with what I'm going to be doing here on the left. And on the left, I'm going to bring in an image. Click and drag that. You see, just because of the size of this image, padding added here, well, not strictly padding, but there's spacing added at the top and the bottom. And because I've put my column here, to vertically center it, it appears here in the middle. Click on the image, upload an image, and we bring her talking on a phone. Click on it, and the first thing I'll do is put it on 100%. And then I'm going to reduce it. And I think, what is it that, no, I think this is okay. Let me just check. Yeah, I think this is good. And now I want to remove all the white space at the top and at the bottom. And you have to do that at 2 places. The first one is go to the column here, settings and more settings. Make sure you see your padding currently like this. Take it away, just link it and drag it all the way to 0. This little glitch. Let's make sure 0, stay there. Margin, same. Then there's still white space. That's the image. Click on the image, settings, more settings, and then here margins, we're going to take that to 0 and 0. Okay, but look here. On the settings toolbar, you see alignment. Click on align and align it to the right. And now I'm going to do one more thing. We go again to settings, more settings, And then for the bottom, I'm going to extend that by dragging it to the left. Minus 100, but at the top, I'm going to increase it. And now it's extending here at the bottom into the next block. Wonder if we just increase it. Let's do that. Let's increase the size a little bit. Okay, I like that. Do you see that? So it creates this overlap effect. Very nice, very professional. Let's update, and then for these two blocks that we've just created, we have to go and look at it on our tablet. This is going to be a nightmare. Here we need padding on the left and the right, way much too squashed. So we put on padding here. I'm going to put that on 50, and also here on the left on 50. Okay, and that looks good. I am not going to mess around with these guys. That is fine. And this one, I'm actually thinking it's okay, but we go to the block settings, link everything, and drag the padding to 0. So we connect it again. This curriculum tile is too big, so click on that, and I'm going to put it on 36. Let's see, 36, still too big for me. Let's put it on 28. The reason I'm putting it on 28 is because the moment I click here, I have to bring in padding on the right for the column, and I'm going to put that on 50, and also for the left on 50. And we have a problem with our button here, and we'll style the button. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the column here in the middle and drag that all the way to 30%. This is the responsive control I have here. And then drag this one all the way to 100%. Ooh, okay, wait, not 100, until it goes to the next line. And if this happens where it goes over and you cannot get it like that, all you do now is you go to this column and you just drag that one in 1, 2, and then there you go. That should work. Let's click on the image and drag out the image and then align it. Oh, it is aligned. We need to take out all that spacing. So go to the column, link all the padding, drag it down to 0. Same for the image. Go to the image and make it 0. Make it 0. And then for the bottom, we're going to drag it to the left so it can extend over. You're not going to see it now because we don't have anything here. I'm just going to reduce this. Okay. So we'll have to come back later and see how this looks. But here we need to add a little bit space at the top. So I'll go to this column, and then for the padding at the top, I'll add 50. And let's also do it for the bottom, 50. Let's see how that looks. So now we can drag that image out like this. And then click here on the image to bring in the focal selector to make sure. What's her name? Bambi. Bambi stays in focus. Okay, mobile device is going to be completely different. These images, the first thing I'll do is go to the block, and I'll bring in 35, my safety zones, 35. Click on the image here, and I'm going to just grab the corner here. Let me click on it, and then I can grab the corner. Nope, doesn't want to do that. Actually, that's not a bad idea. What if I drag this to 50%? Yeah, I'm thinking this can work. Click on the next one, drag it to 50%. Much better. Didn't think of this previously. Same for this one. Around 50%. Starting to get lightheaded. I think I need to go get myself a cup of coffee. My voice is definitely going soon. 50%. Here. Okay, we do run into some padding problems. Okay, like this one. Let's reduce it a little bit. This one too. Ooh, nice. There we go. I've worked with. This looks actually pretty cool. That is totally not what I had done originally, but I think it works. And then we have this here. And this is where things look completely different on your mobile device. What you wanted to achieve at the beginning is probably not going to work here. So let's work with this one. Work with it, man. Let's click here on our settings. And the first thing, padding, I'm going to link them all and drag it all out. And then I'm going to grab my image and I'm going to drag it all the way. Let's click on the image. And you see, this is something that I found in Brizy Cloud. You see, I've dragged it. And for some reason, when you drag it over another block, you get that arrow cursor, the sideways, and then it doesn't matter what you do, it doesn't want to do anything. Go update, Control S, Command S, and then refresh the page. That's the only way I got around that. There is no other way currently for that. Let's go back to our mobile, scroll down to the bottom, and now I'll go to Image, click on its settings, and here on size, I'm going to put in 100%, and that will stretch it all the way from the left to the right. Now I'm going to click on it. I'll just reduce the height a little bit, like so. Go to the image and put this focal selector on Bambi's face. Go to the column again, margin at the top, take that away, put it on 0, margin at the bottom, take that away on 0, and then go to the image settings and take away the margin at the top and the margin at the bottom. And then this space here is for the next column. Go to the next column. First, take out the margins at the top. And then we have to put in some spacing to the right, which is 35 and 35. And then I'm going to, at the top, let's put in 50 at the top. Give it space at the top. And then this one, take it away a little bit. And I'll put also 50 at the bottom for this column. Good. See, completely different than the ones that we had done earlier. A little bit space here. A little bit space there. Good. Control S, Command S, and let's preview it. Just going to go to this one that's already open and refresh it. Let's see where we stand now in the world of CV making. Can I get a full-time job with this? Scroll down. It looks good. And Bambi looks good. And here we see we have a little bit of a spacing issue. This button is too big. And that's the difference by using iPhone X. If I use other, okay, these guys all look the same. They all do the same. In fact, they are narrower. Let's go here. Where's my button? What I'll have to do here is I'm going to reduce the size. Ah, it is actually smaller, but let's put it anyway on 12, which is very small, and I don't care. And when I go to that, I'll put it on normal as well. I'll increase the letter spacing. Let's see if this is going to do the job for us. And then let's refresh here. Hey, it did the job. It did the job. Very good. There we go. So how far are we? Are we almost done? We're almost done. Almost. Hang in there, Bambi. Hang in there. Bambi is waiting for her site. Let's go to desktop and let's cheat for the last one because we say we are already so tired. Click here and we're going to bring in a contact, and you can do that over here. I go to contact and now I just have to spot the one that I had used for this one. Here we go. Click on this one. And what is nice about the global styling, you can see that at the bottom I have this green teal button. But because I had changed that color at the very beginning, it's going to bring in the new color for this one. So click on this. It will bring it in for me. And look how well these guys play together. It's like they were friends forever. This block just fits in perfectly. I'll bring in a little bit more spacing here. Click and drag. And then everything is just honky-dory. If I look here, go to typography, just put it on Mooly. And then let's triple click. Please feel free to reach out to me. And then here you can change the phone and the address. Over here, this is our form, and the form has been set up. Name, email, that's all right. Subject, what do you want to talk to me about? And here, paragraph, that's a stupid thing to say. So we're going to say message. Then we have to set up our button here. I'll first style it because I think the text should be white. Text is white, that's good. And then if we hover over it, actually, I like that hover effect. I should have applied it to the top as well. Going to leave it like that. I'm just curious over this space here. Where does that come from? That's an interesting one. Corners, border. Height? No. Okay. Interesting. Very, very interesting, Bobby. And then for the icon, is it because of the icon? Seems it's because of the icon. Let's look for envelope again. Envelope. Yeah, it does that. I don't like it. I just don't like it. I'm going to remove the envelope. Not sure why it does that. Is it because it's not? Yeah, I don't like it. And interestingly enough, for the button here, the button doesn't have the And look at the corner. Why the corner slider is moving? Weird. Okay, well, very weird. Okay. We leave it at that, Bobby. We leave it at that. And the border, oh, that's border settings. Don't need no border. Okay. What we need to do, and here, up to this point, everything is exactly the same between Brizy Cloud Free and Pro. But here is why I would recommend, for this reason, why Pro is such a good choice. When somebody's going to send an email to you or they're going to contact you, it's like an email, right? It's a message they sent you. Where are you going to receive it? In Brizy Cloud Free, you're going to receive it within your dashboard. And there's a huge problem with that because you don't know when you're going to get that message, which means that you either have to go check every day. And if you only expect one person to contact you, what a waste of resources and time, right? If you are using Brizy Cloud Pro with the latest email integration, you will at least get an email in your inbox, and you're going to set that up over here. If you click on it, you will see email notification. Very important, if you have Brizy Cloud Free, this will be locked. So this part is only Brizy Cloud Pro. Click on that and you have 3 options here. This is required. Where does this email go to? In my case, it's going to go to jp@brizy.io. I will get a notification there. And the subject will be from, let's call it CV site. So I know where it comes from. And the name, you can also say CV site. I'll just call it JP because I know it's me. If it's another client and you put it in here, then you'll maybe change it. And you can add a second email in here. If you want to have your Gmail, simply put in a comma and you put in your second email. If I say info@websitesforbeginners.com. Continue. I haven't tried that actually, so this will be my first time too. Continue and done, and it's set up. Let's see how this will look on a tablet. Looks good on the tablet. Here, our message. Okay, go here to settings. Maybe that was the reason. Curious. Let's go quickly back. I want to see this. Desktop. Let me put in the icon again. And that was our envelope. I love this word, British English. Envelope. 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 I love it. Let's see here. Maybe that wasn't. A little, but not completely. Still. Okay. But better. Okay, we got some solution there. Let's go back to tablet. I like this. I'll add a little bit more space and see now it jumps over here that way. Good. Mobile. And it's set up for mobile perfectly. Perfectly. And let's go to desktop. Control S, Command S. Let's preview it on the front end. And let's do a quick test then. Going to close this one. And first we will test the email. So scroll down. And remember, we have to link this button now to this form that we had created, and I'll show you how to do that. In fact, let's go do that first before we forget. Let's go back into the back and go to this button. Click on the button and go to the link, and you will see the block over here. This is going to generate thumbnails of all the blocks that you have on this site. And you simply click on this one here at the bottom. You see the blue frame? It means it's selected. And that means, and I'm going to show you, update. Go to the front, refresh. Go to the top and click here and get in touch, and it scrolls down to the bottom. Perfecto. Great. And that was a nice smooth scroll. Interesting. Let's fill in this form. I'm going to call this Sally, and it's Sally at everturnity.com. And hello, I want your help. I need a nail clipper. And then just say send message. Then we're going to get this ghastly green. Your email was sent successfully, but at least it tells your visitor things are good. They're going to receive your email. In Brizy Cloud Free, where is this message? So let's go back to our builder, and we're going to exit the builder. Go here to the bottom, click on your little 3 stripes for the hamburger, and click on Go to Dashboard. And then here, go to the three dots and you will see leads appear over here. Click on leads and there it is. Everything is there and you can export it to CSV. Let me just make sure. Export CSV or XLSX, which is the latest Excel. But if you have Brizy Cloud Pro, it's going to also send this to those two email addresses that I just entered there. So let me open my Outlook. And we hear the diddle-ding-ding come in. Let's see. There it is. If I click on it, we're going to get all that information. And this is purely a notification. Hey, JP, this message has come in. And if you want to go and export that information still, you will go into Brizy Cloud and export it. And you will see I got it here for Brizy. And I also got it here for websites for beginners. Great stuff. Let's go back into it. Click here on Edit Project to enter it again. And we're just going to drop a very small footer at the bottom just to give closure to our website. Scroll down all the way to the bottom and I'll bring in a blank block and then I'll give it the dark color. I like to use a contrasting color to give it closure, just to end things off. Go to settings, more settings. I'll link the padding, drag it down to 0 and bring in a text element. Text. Click on it and put it on this color here, that gray. Triple click and I want to bring in the copyright symbol. So I'm on Windows and I know the shortcut key very well. Alt 0169. Alt 0169. No idea what it is on a Mac. In fact, I think it's much easier on a Mac, your shortcut. Alt 0169 and I get my, what is that, copyright thing. So I'm going to say copyright 2020. Bambi Sambrino Productions. And then let's put it in the middle. And that's it. That's all I want, just to end this page off. So let's update that. Go view it on the front end. Bambi Sambrino. Good. It's looking good. Counter. Excellent. Excellent, excellent CV page. And like I said, what you can do now, if this is going to be for a corporate company, you're going to maybe tune down your colors. Only use monochromatic colors, and you can go and do all of that here in the styling. You change this, for example, to a gray. Just drag it there to a gray. And you see how it changes very easily to a gray color. I'm going to undo that to keep it to the color we had it on. And you're going to remove this one. You can maybe put in here life or work philosophy, but reduce the typography size. But the images are fine here. This is what people would expect from a website. Remember about this animation that we had entered there. Something you have to think. Maybe also add some animation here. Click on the image settings, more settings, advanced, and then also fade in left. Fade in left. And I'll just put the delay down a little bit and duration a little bit over there. Good. And update. Now you have to make a few site adjustments. Don't forget about this part. To do that, you go over here to your settings. And then up here you go to settings. Site title is going to be Curriculum Vitae. And then I'll put in a pipe and I'll call it Bambi Sambrino. Resume. And I like to spell resume the way I know. And what is Alt 136, right? Yeah. Resu and Alt 136. Resume of Bambi. We'll add some information here. And then over here you have to add a little favicon. Now, favicon is going to be weird. Don't be too splashy about it. Let's go to Flat Icon that I use, flaticon.com. I'm not promoting them, but I just think they've got great icons. And I'm going to look here for, okay, I'm not logged in, but I think I can still use some of the free ones. I'm going to look here for document, something with a pen. exactly just like this one over here. That's going to be good for a CV. Oh, like this one over here. Maybe we can add a little bit of color. So let's click on that. I think this is a free one. And what I love about flat icon is that in this case, I can even click here and I can go in. Oh, I have to log in and register. I can go and change the colors. I'm not going to do that now. I'm just going to download this one. Let's put it in PNG. Click on PNG, free download. And because I'm not using this for commercial purposes, I can use it. But don't worry, I do have a premium account. I support these guys. These artists work very, very hard, so they deserve your support as well. Let's go back into our settings, select, and I'll just go here where I just downloaded in. Open that. Save changes. Save. Is it saved? Probably saved. Update. And then to see those changes, you have to go to the front end. So we click on the preview button. And we should see the Favicon update there at the top. And we also see Curriculum Vitae, Bambi, Sembrino up there in the browser tab. Let's close all of this. Close. We're done with you. Be gone. And then go to dashboard. And we're going to change the URL over here. So click on that. If you have your own custom domain, you can bring one in for free in Brizy Cloud free. And if you have the pro version, you can choose between Studio and Personal. Personal, you can have 3 custom domains, and with Studio, unlimited. If you don't want to do that, you can just use one of the free subdomains. And the free subdomain means it's always going to have this .brizy.site. But over here, you can change it to Bambi, Sembrino, .brizy.site. I guess no one took Bambi Sembrino. So there we go. And to grab that URL, and I hope they can give us a copy feature here. So when I click on it, it says copy to clipboard, something like that. That would be very, very cool. But to grab that URL, click here, and this is your preview to the front. You see it says there preview, and then it loads that new URL with your favicon up there, your site title. Simply click there, Control-C, Command-C, go to another browser. I'll open Blisk, paste it, enter, and that's a good idea to test it in another browser. And there we go. And then in your Blisk browser for your final touches, you can go ahead and look at those devices. Let's put it on an iPad. From the very top, my lord. Let's start at the very top. I feel so proud. There's a little line there. I know that sometimes happens, but it's only in the display. So proud, so proud. Going to promote somebody, but nobody works for me. And then click here on our iPhone. Same thing. Let's go to the top. Okay, for a moment. And that is what I warned you about at the beginning if your animation is too slow. You saw that I thought something was wrong and then the image came in. Be very wary of that. That is something that you have to keep in your mind. Any animation longer than a second, and trust me, people can swipe 3 times within a second. You can go and check it if you stand with your phone. You can swipe. I'm not that good at it. I broke my thumb at university, so my thumb is a little bit slow. But the new generation, good grief, these guys can swipe like typewriters. So remember that thing about the animation. Looks good. That line is still there. But I do know I didn't see it on the device itself. Aha, you see? That looked totally weird. And that's where I would go back and I'll turn off that animation. Doesn't work for me. And if it does it like that, just go and turn it off. You won't lose anything. You won't even lose sleep over it. Just turn it off. Perfect. Well, another very long session. Now I have to go and edit it. And I hope these tutorials are useful. Maybe some insights in there. And if you are very new to website making, my final message to you will be go ahead and practice. Especially the building seems very easy, but there are 2 things that's going to catch you every time. One is going to be to make it look good. The perfect image is not going to do it. Using images from Unsplash is not going to do it. That's just it. At the end of the day, you still have to get it to look good, and that is layout. And when we talk about layout, you saw that most of that is done with space and structure. The more you do it, the better you'll get at it. But if you just do it once in a while, it's not going to help you. The second challenge you're going to run into is tablets and mobiles. They are challenges because we think in terms of a desktop. Then we get to the mobile, we still want to apply that. You have to basically get into your head, you are making two products. You're making one for mobile and you're making one for desktop. And tablet falls in the middle. You have to decide, maybe this looks better for tablet, maybe the desktop version works better for tablet, and in other cases, maybe the mobile version works better for tablet. That's how you have to think about that. Have a great weekend. See you in the next video. JP signing off.